Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the man with a PhD in THC, a minor degree in herpetology, hitting more trees than a blind Tarzan, got more weed in his bowl than Courtney Love's got whole. Ladies and gentlemen, Izzy! Ha! I don't know if you can tell by looking at me or not, but I get what's called a hood pass. Means I can walk into any neighborhood and nobody bothers me. Maybe it's because they think I'm getting ready to ask them for change. I don't know. I'll give you an example of my hood pass. I was going from Detroit to Orlando and I'd taken the bus. And I had arrived at the bus station. And I had asked the lady at the bus station, I said, hey, how do I get over to Universal? She said, well, you go outside and you get a cab. I said, whoa, wait a second, lady, whoa. I've been on this bus for over 20 hours. I think I'm just going to walk over there. She said, you're going to walk in this neighborhood? I said, yeah. She said, where are you from, boy? I said, Detroit. She said, oh, you'll be fine. Just go down here and you make a right. Sometimes you just got to break out the hood pass. I'll tell you though, while I've been in the hood, I've been doing something of a survey. And it turns out that 99.5% of all junkies tried milk as a kid. Yeah, like you, I think with numbers like that, one thing needs to happen. Milk needs to be considered a gateway drug. Sounds silly, right? Well, it sounds just as silly to me when people compare marijuana to heroin. Because not once, when me and my friends were sitting around smoking that bowl, not once did anybody ever stand up and say, you know what we need, man? We need some fucking heroin. No, not my friends. My friend, he'd stand up and he'd say, man, you know what we need? We need a fucking pizza. Yeah, it's not our gig. I'll tell you also, I found out that while I'm in the hood, I can find a few things. I can find cocaine. I can find heroin. But I can't find any airplanes. I'll give you a second to think about that. Could you imagine, though, what it'd be like to be on that airplane from the hood, though? When you hear these words, orderly. My name's Pedro, and I'm going to be your pilot today. We're going to be flying, right around 500 feet. Because I'm following the interstate, I get lost. Now understand, it's not just being in the hood is about Pedro, because you could just as easily hear, hey baby, this is Tyrone and I'm flying this motherfucker today. Or you could just as easily hear, hi, I'm Billy Bob and I got this shit. Because being in the hood, it's not about black, white, or brown. It's about green. You know, maybe, instead of looking on MLK for those airplanes, maybe I should be looking on Wall Street instead. So, a lot of discussion's been going on about what the problem in our country is, and a lot of people say it has to do with the education system. So let's look at that for just 1 second. Honey Boo Boo was on the Learning Channel. I'm sorry, I don't have a punchline for that joke. Maybe we could start calling it the Learnings Channel? I don't know. But everybody talks about the problem being with education, and I see all the time that teachers are now screwing the students. Boy, why couldn't that have been a trend when I was in school? I couldn't get algebra to save my life, but I could get an erection when the wind blew. Yeah, I'd probably be in Harvard right now, and you guys wouldn't know who the hell I am if that was the case. But they say the schools don't have enough funding. So I asked this question: do you have the lottery in your state? Do you have casinos in your state? Were both of them proposed to you for the education system? So my next question would be where's the fucking limo? You know, the one to pick up my kid and take him to school every day? Yeah, you know. Because every time that you see that lottery go up over $7 million, there's a line around the block at your gas station. And every first of the month, there's every blue hair in sight at the casino pulling the one-armed bandit like it's going to give him life. But no, your kids want to make fun of my son because I got him in a bicycle helmet on the school bus trying to protect his head and neck because he can't even get a damn seatbelt. So I asked that question again, where's the limousine? You know, maybe it's because we've lost the English language somewhere. You know, the kids today, they don't even understand simple words like underwear. 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 If we can't get them to understand underwear, how in the hell are we going to get them to understand politics? Poly meaning many, and ticks being blood-sucking parasites. Now, speaking of politics, I think the next thing that we need to do is something that we've done in the past, and we need to hire an actor and put him in the White House. Yeah, I know they're all actors and they're always playing the same roles, but my thought was my first person I would select, well, he actually passed away. That was James Gandolfini. Could you imagine if we were to send other countries episodes of The Sopranos like it was reality television? Nobody would ever question your president when he said, I don't deal with no fucking terrorists. Yeah, nobody'd ever question that. We'd always end up with the problem, though, with different dignitaries from other countries coming over and never coming back. Could you imagine that press conference, though? Sound like, you know, I don't know what fucking happened. We went out to fucking lunch. We had lunch. That's the last I fucking seen him. Yeah, nobody would ever question our arms policy or anything like that. Yep, so instead of hiring the actors that you're already hiring, maybe we just put a real actor in playing a role that we all understand, instead of a guy putting on a front trying to play your friend. The message. Well, I always try to leave with little life lessons. Something you can take home with you or take to the office. So let's deal with haters. Haters are people in your life that tell you that dreams aren't possible. They're people that'll tell you that you're silly for having dreams or going after your dreams. But I'm here to tell you how you deal with those haters. It's just a couple simple rules. When you deal with that hater, you tell him what you do is you find the nearest exit sign, you form a single file line, and you fuck off. That simple. And on your way to that exit sign, please stop by the concession stand to pick up a big bag of dicks to munch on your way out. So remember, nearest exit sign, single file line, and fuck off and pick up a bag of dicks to munch on your way out. See, I've lived long enough to see trends repeat themselves. You see, in the 80s, if you were watching the news, you'd see a newscaster come on, and they'd say, crack cocaine. It's really cheap, and it gets you really fucking high. Now, if you're doing an infomercial for a junkie, what else would you need to say? You see, as I said, I've lived long enough to watch the cycle repeat itself. In the 80s, a man by the name of Gary Webb revealed that our own CIA was bringing in that cocaine, and they were selling it to fund the Iran-Contra war. Gary Webb's reward for this was 2 shotgun blasts to the head, ruled a suicide. Our streets are flooded with heroin. Our kids are dying left and right. Nobody thinks about point A and B. They're always going after C. John Lennon, when he was a kid, he was asked when he was in class. They said, "John, what do you want to be when you grow up?" He said, "Happy." And the teacher said to him, "John, you don't understand the question." John said, "No, you don't understand the answer." You see, in order for things to really happen, we have to understand our past. A man by the name of Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in this world." And Bill Hicks said the world is just a ride in an amusement park. And when we choose to go on that ride, our minds are very powerful, and it's got thrills and chills and very brightly colored. But it's just a ride. And some people have been on that ride for a really long time, and they begin to question, is this real or is this just a ride? And others have come back to us and they've said, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid. It's just a ride. And we kill those people. Shut him up. We've got a lot invested in this ride. Shut him up. Look at my furrows of worry in my big bank account. This just has to be real. But it's just a ride. But we kill those good guys that try to tell us that, and we let demons run amok. But don't worry, don't be afraid. It's just a ride. We can change that ride anytime we want to. It's the choice of fear